Um, Hello, good afternoon and greetings. I hope I'm audible. I am Akanksha Vani, along with Sri Lakshmi and team, extend a very warm welcome to you all to this conference on empowering periods, shaping menstrual policies for school. The conference has been diligently curated by the Project Vedana team and Team Sarkari School in collaboration with Gurlab Bani. Gurlab Bani aims at creating an approachable and safe space for girls alike and ready to work on bringing positive changes in their lives as well as enriching the lives of others. Amidst the ongoing discourse surrounding menstrual leaves in India, we seek to present to you our vision and perspective to empower the young menstruators, take constructive steps towards bringing period equity, and reduce the dropouts due to periods. It is a privilege to be welcoming you all to what we are hoping will be an enlightening discussion. I would now like to call upon my team member Soumya to present a formal welcome address to our guests and viewers and introduce the organization. Over to you, Soumya.
Thank you. Menstruation is not a problem. Poor menstrual hygiene is. Good evening, one and all present here. My name is Soumya Vats, and I would like to welcome you all to this session on Panel 5. I bid a very warm welcome to our mentors, our esteemed speakers for today, and my fellow teammates and the viewers. I welcome you to the session on Beyond Implementation, Ensuring Sustainable Impact. This panel seeks to explore the current evidence concerning menstrual hygiene management, particularly ensuring consideration for environmental sustainability. To enrich our panel today and embark on this journey with a vision to empower menstruators in school, we have with us Akansha Joshi ma'am, researcher and counseling psychologist, Dr. Geeta Jaggannathan ma'am, CSR director of Gramalaya, Shruti Chand ma'am, founder and CEO of Naarica, Geeta Solanki ma'am, social entrepreneur and founder of Unipads India, Pinky Chandran ma'am, independent researcher, author, and founding member of Solid Waste Management Roundtable. And the last, Priyanka Jain ma'am, founder of Soch Green, menstrual health educator and lifestyle coach. So, we are sure that this session will greatly advance the aim of framing menstrual policies and eliminating taboos surrounding menstruations. We are looking forward to learning from you all today. I hope this discussion engages, inspires, and induces our viewers to act towards normalizing menstruation and empowering school going girls. Thank you. Over to Sri Lakshmi.
Thank you, Soumya. Sarkari School is a platform of young, motivated, and passionate individuals who aspire change. Before we progress further, I now invite Nishad to tell us more about the organization.
When passion meets purpose, we strive to make a positive impact, inspire change, and create a better future for all. SarkariSchool.in is an initiative of WeCitizen Foundation. Since 2019, this platform has been known for recognizing and celebrating the unsung hero who tirelessly contribute to the upliftment of government school and education. These individuals deserve not only our appreciation but also our support and recognition to inspire others. They demonstrate that with self determination and hard work, anything is possible even without substantial backing. Our primary objective is to change the negative perception surrounding government school and create a supportive ecosystem where society can act as a true friend of these institutions. We strive to engage the youth and encourage their involvement in developing the favorable ecosystem for government school. In the last 4 years, we are able to engage with more than 3,000 youth across India and also had the privilege to work with more than 500 plus schools across India. At Sarkari School, we aspire to become a think tank by addressing and resolving issues in a constructive manner to bring in more discourse and discussion on crucial subjects. We generate innovative ideas and implement them to bring about revolutionary change. As we know that government schools are often stereotyped and subjected to negative judgment, it often overshadow the achievement of government school. Sarkari School.in seek to alter this narrative by providing factual information by uplifting stories of success and hope relating to government school. The goal of Sarkari School.in is therefore to facilitate constructive dialogue, ideas and effort among educators, policymakers, students, teachers of various government to address effective positive change in the society. Sarkari School.in has various ongoing projects such as Project Sahyog, Project Gudiya, Project Vedana, Project Kahani Kosh, and committed policy advocacy and research team that is devoted to creating an empowered space for government school students via digital education and an archive of learning opportunity. The project covered diverse area of menstrual health and awareness, girl child education, and of course ensuring the safety of girl students via various programs to offer comprehensive support to government school, helping them to unlock their full potential. The endeavor includes zealous social workers, dedicated educators, and motivated young students, all striving tirelessly to ensure that each child is granted a fair and important education. Inspired by this vision, policy advocacy and research team of WeCitizen Foundation unite enthusiastic advocates of policy and inspiring researchers aiming to make a positive impact. Their strategy revolve around conducting researches on variety of education-related topics that serve teachers, government officials, policymakers, and stakeholders. Join us to work for all these causes in any possible way. Over to you, Sri Lakshmi.
Thank you, Nishat, for giving us insights into the aims, objectives, and the larger vision of our organization. Now, I would like to call upon Safalya to talk about the reason why we've gathered here about the conference.
Thank you, Sri Lakshmi. Empowerment is a multidimensional social process that helps people gain control over their own lives. Today, discourse regarding women's social, educational, economic, and psychological empowerment is in the limelight. However, this discursive debate subjugates menstrual health and policies. Menstrual issues remain untouched in the paradigm of taboos and stereotypes. Policies and education around menstruation become even more important on this spectrum. But the barricades of shame created around menstruation talks have weakened our ability to think and act. Menstrual hygiene and health is challenged by period poverty, repercussions on education, dignity in professional settings, social insensitivity, and the silence that surpasses it all. It is in the spirit of promoting debate, deliberation, and discussion regarding policy challenges that relegate the crucial issues surrounding periods. We have organized a virtual national conference on empowering periods, shaping menstrual policies for schools. The overarching theme for the conference is keeping school as focal points to educate, support, and empower folks regarding menstruation and menstrual policies. So, come join us in our endeavor to brainstorm, learn, and grow. Over to the hosts.
Thank you, Safalya. Now, let me give a brief about the theme of the panel. Our action should leave a lasting impact. Although we have implemented policies to raise awareness about menstrual hygiene and distribute sanitary pads in school, it is important to reconsider their sustainability. We need to ask ourselves, have we made sanitary pads affordable? Do schools have sanitary pads dispensers? Unfortunately, the answer is no, which renders our efforts ineffective. When proposing a policy, we should consider the holistic outcome rather than just the immediate result. Our efforts must be acceptable, appropriate, and sufficient to ensure sustainability. When formulating a menstrual policy for schools, it should encompass various aspects, relieving students from pain, eliminating taboos, and not hindering their academic progress. The proposed policy should not compromise on any of these fronts. Additionally, a policy should be flexible and adaptable to changing needs and lessons learned through implementation. Continuous monitoring and feedback enable us to make a policy enduring. This discussion will also delve into understanding of how menstrual products have evolved to be more sustainable and how it has impacted the larger society. This discussion will address the steps needed for successful implementation of environmentally conscious period waste disposal, ensuring long term sustainability. We will explore the practicality and comprehensiveness of the suggested measures, as well as the dynamic nature of the proposal, ensuring that our recommendations have a lasting impact and clear outcomes. As we have now developed a good understanding of the overall theme and aims of the panel, let us hear from our speaker their dynamic perspective regarding the same.
Our first speaker for today is Akansha Joshi. Akansha is a researcher and a counseling psychologist specializing in sustainable menstrual practices. Their project Green Period focuses on revolutionizing menstruation approaches in the Himalayas. Their work challenges taboos, raises awareness, and inspires communities. Let's hear from Akansha.
Thank you so much, Shri, for the kind introduction. Am I audible? Yeah, okay. So it is truly an honor to be here sharing space with this wonderful panel. I would really, acknowledge and appreciate the team of Sarkari School for providing us such a platform. I think it is very important to address this crucial topic that affects almost half of the global population. And I personally think that menstruation is not just a matter of hygiene or individual health, but it's an urgent call to action for the upliftment of the environment and the well being of all the menstruators. Primarily, I'm speaking of women. If I talk about my work, I have been working with rural females in the parts of Kumaon in Uttarakhand. And initially, my vision was to create a safe space so that people can talk about periods, they can have more deep conversation about periods. But during my PhD fieldwork, I realized that how important it is to inculcate eco friendly and sustainable habits in such habitat. Even when I was working on the levels of psychological distress, which is actually the chances of a person getting, high risk of depression, anxiety, and acute stress. So I was working on psychological distress and self esteem as well. And the kind of treatment these females were getting during their periods was so upsetting and ill. And eventually I got to know that what, they are made to live in separate and secluded rooms. They cannot even touch water on their own, or they cannot consume milk. The most triggering part was that they were not allowed to bathe for like the first 2 days of their periods. Apart from all these beliefs and all these practices, they also face really difficult times in disposition of these plastic pads, these disposable pads, because in mountains in the area I am working right now, there are no such facilities for disposition. And that's how I came up with this intervention, which is known as menstrual counseling. So menstrual counseling and the workshops that are designed, they are designed in a way that they're able to cater the psychological, the social, the sustainable, and the physiological aspect. Till now, in my 14 months of fieldwork, I am able to conduct workshops for around 85 to 90 females from different villages of Kumao. And I'm really glad to say that around 60% of them have now completely and consciously switched to sustainable menstruation, because now they have ditched their disposable pads, and they are now using the cotton pads, the reusable cotton pads. And this just gave me a lot of hope to work for them, and just work in this direction. At last, I just think that together we have to break the silence and empower women with knowledge and access. And I'm hoping for a more equitable and a better and sustainable future ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, Akanksha Doshi ma'am, for sharing your insights on how women, or basically people in Himalayas, are now looking at menstrual products. And it's very inspiring that you are working in an area where not much attention has been made. I hope you continue the work, and in future we can associate with you. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Dr. Geeta Jaggannathan. She's the director of CSR Gramalaya, an organization dedicated to water sanitation, personal hygiene, menstrual hygiene management, and nutrition. Initially working as a health educator in Trichy district, her commitment to our cause has seen different horizons by her working at the institution. We'd like to welcome her to address the occasion.
Ma'am, you're not audible. Ma'am, you're still not audible. You are on mute.
You're on mute.
Ma'am, can you just unmute
Ma'am,
yourself?
can you unmute?
May I audible
Yeah.
Yes.
now? Okay, okay. Thank you, Shri, for the introduction, and thank you, Sarkari School and V Foundation, so for the wonderful for organizing the wonderful conference. And as per the census 2011, so there is a menstruating women around 31 crores. So in India, so Government of India has incorporated MHM into national policies and programs, and UNICEF is also providing technical guidance on raising awareness, addressing behavior change, capacity building, and creation of WAS facilities. So there is, and Swachh Bharat and Swachh Vidyalaya campaigns are implementing in schools, and MHM is an integral part of Swachh Bharat mission, and MDWS also published in operational guidelines. So there is a no more operational guidelines and policies and programs are implemented by Government of India, but still in schools there are issues are there, lack of awareness and knowledge about menstruation, cultural taboos and restriction during menstruation, and menstrual products usage and disposal is a very big issue, and the toilets and wash facilities and factors associated with the missing school during menstruation also there, and the time during break was too short. So for a change of menstrual pad, and they could leave the class so when leaking, and also the flexible approach of school rules, so with allowance of visits, toilet visits during lessons may better facilitate girls menstrual hygiene and absenteeism. So regarding Gramalaya's intervention in menstrual hygiene management, so we are supporting to spread the awareness of plastic free period all over India. So our menstrual hygiene programs reached educating 19 lakhs 23,000 beneficiaries directly. And also we trained the school teachers, Anganwadi workers, and we appointed washman volunteers in each and every panchayats. So they are educating menstrual hygiene awareness in schools and villages to girls and women. So overall, 6 lakhs 89,000 girls and women are using reusable our reusable cloth pads, and also 8 lakhs 61,000 tons so menstrual waste from polluting the environment, which is highly contributing to the plastic free India. So these are the activities we are doing, and also in the as a in the 4 years, a total of 159 villages were made the menstrual waste free villages. So this is a menstrual waste free villages. So there is a, in this village there is no menstrual waste. We can't see the menstrual waste product. So 159 villages we are declared. So this the concept is developed by our founder director Mr. Damodaran and our MHM director Ms. Preeti Damodaran. So they are also working majorly on the plastic period, plastic free period. India. So the menstrual waste free village in South India. So where at 100% of the menstruating women and adolescent girls are using eco-friendly reusable cloth pads only. So they have switched to a more hygienic way for managing the periods, breaking the taboo, harmful myths and misconceptions which were largely prevailed in the community before. So, by providing menstrual hygiene awareness education, women are empowered with knowledge about their body and their confidence. And mental health is also improved. School dropout rates and absenteeism during periods is reduced after the interventions by our work. This helps is improving the literacy level of the rural women, which in turn will contribute to the overall development of the society. So we also work for eradicating period poverty by donating reusable menstrual products to women as way to manage their menstrual hygiene in safe and hygiene manager. And also we are conducting the National Menstrual Hygiene Management Summit. So we last and January 2003. So we conducted national level menstrual hygiene management summit at Delhi. So we are united to 225 social activists, NGOs, and who are working for menstrual health and hygiene. So that is we are doing the networking among all the government officials also. This summit focused on more and more the policies changes, and also in improving the menstrual products and accessibility and affordability of menstrual products, and also which resulted in more like-minded organization joining in the MHM campaign with the networking concept, and made MHM a people movement of the country. So this is our motto of the again and also we are so reducing the plastic waste and hazardous waste as a commercial sanitary napkin. So more than 6 lakhs women are using now reusable cloth pads. So we change their mindset to switch over to use the reusable cloth pads. So regarding the policy, we the at the school level, so uh, so good menstrual health hygiene triggers health, confidence, and the self-esteem of women, and is linked to gender equality also. And involvement of key cultural influences, so that is social religious leaders in countering the negative myths and misconceptions. So that's also it's my suggestion. And also MHM should be at the top of the development agenda, and intensive action from all stakeholders. So thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Geeta ma'am. It was so insightful to know how you are working for period hygiene management, how 150 plus villages are now having, they are now free from menstrual waste. So that is a great achievement. So many lakh people have now started using reusable cotton and reusable hygiene products. It's great achievement. Thank you for doing this work, and I hope you do such great work and more. Thank you.
Yeah, exactly, Akansha. The kind of we're talking about sustainable impact here, right? So implementing things in a very sustainable manner, and I think the initiative of promotion of waste management, of especially menstrual waste that you're doing, is very inspiring. Next up, our guest is Shruti Chand. She's the founder and CEO of Naarica. Shruti is a master's in management postgraduate with a sustainability and circular economy specialization. Her brand Naarica is a sustainable women oriented brand that empowers women who care about themselves and the environment. To talk more about the panel theme of sustainability and also about the work that she's doing, I invite Shruti.
Thank you, Shri. Thank you so much. So, yes, my name is Shruti, and I'm very excited to be a part of such a brilliant, action packed panel as well as the team from Sarkari School and WeCitizen Foundation. So, very, very happy to be here. Like you mentioned, I am the founder of Naarica as well as Nari for Nari, which is what I would like to share some light on in this little introduction that I have prepared. So, Nari for Nari is actually an initiative by Naarica where we go to schools and actually try to learn. We are very early in the process, so we are still trying to figure out how we can impact the women in a way that can be very future proof. So everything we do, of course, is related to green menstruation, but something that we are doing very specially is that we are trying to work with really really young volunteers so that we can have a more future ready approach towards how we teach and how we actually get taught also by the feedbacks of the girls we go to, so that we can make this dream a reality, which is to eradicate period poverty. So something definitely that drove me back then to start this, which is about 1 year back now, was that I constantly had this conversation with my teams that I was a part of before, even at Narika, is कि आइडियाज तो बहुत होते हैं, इम्प्लीमेंट कैसे करेंगे एंड उसके बाद उसको मेजर कैसे करेंगे, राइट? And that implementation से जो measurement वाला journey है was the toughest one, and that is what we wanted to embark upon. So we started building in public. So the first session that we ever created was without any script, is to actually get taught ourselves also. So one of the fewest, like the most initial sessions that I conducted, there is this story that I thought could be very relevant here. Was this 9-year-old who came to me after a session for 300 girls, right? So 300 girls ke sath we tried to play games. I tried to also, like Geeta ma'am for example, हमने MHM summit में बहुत कुछ सीखा. We spoke to a lot of people to build the best curriculum, but when we actually went there, we realized that adaptability was very much required. पर जब session खत्म हुआ, which is what I want to focus on, was that this girl comes up to me and she just tells me, how can I also get a master's done in the future? And it really moved me because she's 9 years old. She's probably not even started thinking about what she'll do in life, but she was so inspired. So and it's also because the team was also very well qualified and so on. So I actually realized that period talk is not just about eradicating period poverty. Period talk actually helps empower young girls in general. It gives them a sense of empowerment that they can use not just in their vaginal health and sanitary health space, but they can actually use it for having better jobs, better opportunities, better earning sources, better understanding of self. So that's when we realized that because future proof was our goal to start all of this, we wanted to inculcate some of the tidbits that we picked out after educating 1000 to 2000 women. So we picked out body positivity and green menstruation as something we wanted to focus on. So while all the NGOs and educators and all of us are working on this dream to actually educate the whole nation, I realized that there is this dire need that we shouldn't end up in a position, especially with school girls, where after 50 years we are going back to them and we are like, okay, now we are period poverty free, but you know what, let me teach you body positivity. So if we have a platform to already speak to these young girls, how can we use these platforms to empower them in general, and also actually share the knowledge that we have within each other, so that we can make more equity in the whole system, in terms of not just thinking about a village or a city, but actually a whole economy which can solve multiple problems at the same time. So I think overall, just to conclude with this thought, we are going on and on with the kind of places we go to. But the agenda is very simple when it comes to the theme of this panel, which I would like to just conclude with, is that sustainability तो है ही हमारा environment के towards हमारा responsibility, but I think inculcating habit is what is going to really make it a sustainable impact that we want to do. So I think inculcating habit के लिए we are very positive about reusable products. I think जब आप उनको कोई ऐसा disposable product देते हो, let's not even go to the facilities that are lacking to dispose them, but generally also for a girl who has used a packet in a month and then does not have access to the next to something next month or after 6 months, it is hard for a girl to inculcate that habit. And because reusable products को वो लोग को share नहीं करना पड़ेगा and they can go on and on for years, I think I'm not just seeing the sustainability aspect towards the environment, but what I'm seeing is the habit that we can create together. So I think it's not even a choice, it's just how it can go forward. So with that, like ma'am also mentioned कि hopeful बहुत है हम लोग सब. We are sitting and discussing this here, but I think if we keep going on like this, I'm very hopeful that the young girls have a very bright future in the near few years. Thank you.
Thank you, Shruti. I was so excited that when you said that talks on period poverty, in fact, ends up with women empowerment and
Yeah,
body positivity. That was
correct.
something which should be spoken about, and I'm great that you're doing this work. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Really proud of the work you're doing with Nari for Nari initiative, Shruti.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Geeta Solanki. She's the founder of Unipads. She's one of the top 75 women transforming India awardees of 2022 Niti Aayog and by UN. Geeta is an experienced franchise owner with a notable track record in the field of health, wellness, and fitness industry. She also takes up the initiative of menstrual health in her life. And to hear more about her views on the panel, we have her. Geeta.
Yeah. Hi everyone. Thank you for having me on the panel. I'm really glad that I'm amongst all the experts here. And thank you, Sarkari School and the WeCitizen Foundation for having this platform for us. Now, just briefing you about what Unipads does. We started in September 2018, and we are into manufacturing and distribution of reusable cloth sanitary pads. But I usually call Unipads not as a product company, but I call it as a, we are basically people's company wherein we are talking about, we promote open conversation around periods. So when I say open conversation, I think that's the solution for everything. The way we talk about, say, brushing our teeth as a habit, or sleeping at night at a proper time is a habit. Even using a sustainable product should be a habit, just like any other habits in your life. So talking about Unipads, we have given the opportunity to the village women, rural village women, to manufacture these pads. We are employing over 150 women at this village at a centralized manufacturing unit, giving them an opportunity to, kind of not just be, empowered through making a product, but also financial independence, which has actually impacted a lot deeply into their own families and in the overall village setup as well. So, and talking about the retail, we are also going retail through women. So there are village level entrepreneurs, we call them Kalyanis. So they are the sellers, resellers, but we call them as our knowledge partners. So they buy the stock from us. We train them on the aspects of menstrual hygiene management. We train them on the aspects of sales and how to engage with the stakeholders. And that's how we, sorry, guys. Yeah, that's how we help them engage with the end users and talk and create, basically initiate an open conversation around, periods in general with the public around them. And we have approximately 145 Kalyanis across different rural parts of Gujarat. And we try and collaborate with a lot of NGOs and other organizations sharing similar vision like ours to create an ecosystem wherein it's very easy to talk about periods. It's very common to, kind of approach anyone with a query. I've noticed whenever we take these awareness sessions around in the government schools or trust schools, there is a hesitance. Even if we talk and end the session and we ask them there is any query, they want to ask us anything, one thing that I've noticed is they will never stand up or point their hands up and say, like, we have this query. So we want to create a comfortable environment for a girl to ask without any hesitation any query that they have related to, say, their personal hygiene and health. So we try and develop that with creative ideas and games and interaction, materials, information and everything. So yeah, that's how we do it. We also kind of involve, basically, there are a few projects that we work in, and some of the projects are basically focused mainly on schoolgirls. As in, we all know that there is an absenteeism that happens in the schools during a certain age. That is the adolescent age when they hit the puberty and they start with the menstruation. We are also aware that it's not always only menstruation. There are other factors as well. But menstruation too plays a very big role when it comes to, like, say, 2 days absenteeism or 3 days absenteeism every month, or even dropout of the school due to lack of the facilities or the lack of menstrual products. So there are projects that we have in mind and we are working towards to actually, kind of address this issue in particular, wherein we want to find out what actually motivates them. Is it only the product, or it is something else that will help them to go to school regularly? So talking about the policies in schools when it comes to MHM, I'm sure we all know that in April last few months back, Central, the Supreme Court has given the instructions to the center, saying that there has to be policies in place for all the schools across the country, and the state government has to make the efforts. The Ministry of Education and I think Ministry of Education and Jal Shakti Ministry as well has to have this, you know, um, make sure that the implementation of these policies that have been set up is taking place, be it free pads distribution, be it incinerators, vending machines, disposals. But when it comes to implementation of the same, that's where the gap is. And these policies have to be implemented, but the monitoring these implementation is the gap. So maintenance of the toilets, even if it is being built very well, continuous supply of the pads. We talk about, say, vending machines, but then how often they're working in a working condition. We talk about incinerators, but then are they harmful or not for the environment? Are they even being taken care of? Are the girls even openly going and putting the pads, used pads in the incinerators or not? So these are the questions. So we need to actually go at the grassroots level and talk about these issues, not actually sitting on the top and talking about the basic policies. So yes, there are policies. Government is doing a lot about it, but we need to talk about the regular maintenance and the implementations of these stuff. So I think I'll just conclude there.
Thank you, Geeta. Actually, I was so surprised that how you started with the most important thing in periods empowerment is open talks, and then how these talks should be used to build policies not from top down approach but from bottom up approach. And
Yes.
this is something which we should consider as a future policymakers and policy advocates, that the policy should be from bottom up and all inclusive. Taking these small things of toilet maintenance, disposals is very important, and I hope when we are making such policies, we'll keep these small things in mind, which makes the big impact. Thank you.
Thank you, Akansha. Next up, we have Priyanka Jain. Priyanka Jain is a menstrual health educator and the lifestyle coach. She's the founder of Soch Cream, and having followed Soch Cream so much, I can tell you that Priyanka is really passionate about health and lifestyle, a fitness enthusiast who firmly believes in refuse, reuse, reduce, and recycle. To talk more about sustainability through these processes and about her work, also, let's welcome her.
Hi, thank you, Shri, and thank you everyone and the Sarkari School for organizing this. As already mentioned, this is a much needed topic, that always needs more and more discussion, despite of So many NGOs working on this for years now, and we ourselves started in 2015. I still feel that this topic is a taboo, and we can never have enough of these kind of discussions. Um, so I'll quickly get started. So, like I mentioned, we started in 2015, and at that time, the main aim of me and my husband, we both decided we wanted to do something for the environment. And I was already using menstrual cups at that time, and they were not very popular or well known in India. So we decided that okay, we're going to talk to people about this and spread more awareness. We wrote to, like, I started talking in my network with my family and friends. We wrote to so many offices or apartment blocks that if we could come and talk to them about it and do a display of products, what kind of products are available. And it was like people were shutting door on my face. Like, we had a very tough time trying to convince anybody to let us give a lecture. Very few, one or two colleges agreed, and I went. And the way people were looking at me when I spoke about a menstrual cup, that it has to be inserted, they were like, what are you talking about? Like, we don't talk about periods and you're talking about an internal product. So I didn't have like a good experience, and I knew that okay, we have to change something here. And that's when I realized that because periods are such a big taboo, when people are not comfortable talking like this in open, and like one of you also mentioned that after the session was over, nobody would ask any questions. So I realized that this is not the right way, and we went online. So I started my YouTube channel. Then there were groups on Facebook where we started talking about these products, and I got a very good response because it's a video on YouTube that talks to you, just tells you what is a menstrual cup. It shows you what it looks like. It tells you, explains you how to use it. So I got like really good response. In fact, like, I was not even expecting, and I had not checked my channel for a few weeks, and one day I logged in and I just saw 25,000 followers. I was shocked because last time I checked it was 500. So that gave me that conviction that hey, people actually do want to look into these products, and they are concerned about their own health. So that's when we decided that okay, let's for some time stick online and make it comfortable for people. Then at that time there was a Facebook group also, which was very helpful, and I would support people in choosing the right product for themselves. That is when I realized, like, being on YouTube and Facebook groups, that not everybody is comfortable with any one product. And then I looked into the entire product landscape. I realized the more women I spoke to, I must have spoken to like thousands of women. So I realized that there's no one product which is fit for everybody, based on their own comfort level and also what is available. Sometimes people don't have access to clean water, so how do I expect them to use a menstrual cup or a cloth pad? There are cases when a disposable sanitary pad is the only option. So I did a lot of research on all kinds of products, and I had to unlearn certain things, and I had to teach myself that okay, I cannot force everybody that what is sustainable and you have to use it. So that was a very big learning for me, that we have to be sensitive to situations and people and their choices, their comfort level. And so then that really helped in giving the right kind of support to people. Then I finally thought okay, now it's time to go offline again as well, to have that personal touch. I joined GTR. It's a Green the Red group, and a group of 8-10 of us started, and doing offline promotions. We got the chance to work with Millions Women as well, and having stalls in all the Pinkerton marathons. So that was a great experience as well, to have like a celebrity like him promoting sustainable products. Then after that, things really changed a lot, and it was the other way around, that people would contact us that hey, can you come and do a session in our office or in our college or even schools. So that's when we went offline, and with a much much better response. We also tied up with a number of NGOs, and we would provide our products at much lower price, special prices for NGOs so that they could distribute it further. We also tied up with a lot of offices who would buy our products for their CSR activities, which was also a very good and encouraging for us that, big companies were also looking into something like this in this direction. Um, we also started going to schools as well, and I think it's very important, like you were talking about bottom up approach. Similarly, I feel that it's very important to teach the girls at the right age, because I realize that we humans are very difficult in adapting. Unless I want to do something, I want to make a change in my life myself, I will not do it if just because somebody else is telling me to do it. So, and I've noticed that people who are comfortable using a sanitary pad, they are the toughest to, convert and make them use a product like a menstrual cup or a cloth pad, because they are already so comfortable with those use and throws. So, I realized that, young girls who just started on their period, that is the best time to, give them the right product landscape. Like, again, I don't believe in telling them, hey, only use a cloth pad. I We started going to schools and just telling them about everything, be it a disposable pad or a tampon or a menstrual cup or a cloth pad, that hey, you should know about everything, and then list down the pros and cons of all of them. And I realized most of the girls, even in, like, be it big cities or small cities, they were very open to something that is healthy for them and the environment. They really did not care too much about the comfort, though their moms would say, oh, you won't be able to wash, beta, no, I don't want you to use cloth pads. But the girls themselves were like, no mom, it's okay, it's good for me and it's good for the environment. So that was very touching for me as well, and I realized that, that is where we need to focus more on. Unfortunately, I still haven't got a lot of chance. We have been to a few schools, but still not as much as I would like to. But I really do think that, schools are the place where the correct awareness need to be given, and so that the girls make their own decision themselves, not just like what their mom thinks is right for them. Because the moms have, our generation used, they have become used to that comfort, and they want to give the best to their daughters, so they think, I don't want to pressure her with washing cloth pads and stuff. But reaching out directly to them is definitely the solution.
Thank you, Priyanka. It was so nice that how your own personal experience, from your own personal experience, you actually ended up making a whole lot of products for sustainable hygiene solutions. So that was great. And yes, schools are the main point where we can reach these products and introduce these products to them. And I hope very soon the moms and the parents will encourage students to buy sustainable hygiene products. I hope this is something which we should hope for. And thank you so much for your work. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like I remember coming across Priyanka ma'am's reel of like the insertion of a menstrual cup and everything on Instagram. So yeah, it's to each its own, right? Even by promoting inclusivity through using these sustainable products, everyone might have a personal preference. But like she said, starting with people who are who are just starting out menstruating individuals would be maybe a better way to look at sustainability in this domain. On that note, now we'll open up the floor for like more discussion. My first question is to Akansha Joshi. Considering that you've pursued sustainable menstrual practices in your mountainous terrains of like Uttarakhand and places like Kumaon, how does your work with green periods specifically address the distinct challenges that these regions face, and how are they reacting to the sustainable alternatives?
Okay. So to be really honest, I had a different mindset when I first moved to mountains because of the conditioning, the cities that gave you. So I had in mind that मुझे बहुत problem होगा to introduce cloth pads, and I was also thinking that it will be easy for me to talk to them because I am natively from that part. But when I went there and started, my interventions and my workshops, one thing was that I learned a lot of patience, because For them periods is a huge thing. Uttarakhand it itself is Dev Bhumi, we call it Dev Bhumi, and there are a lot of taboos, lot of regional beliefs surrounding, like, and you cannot tackle them with logic. So what I gave them is a lot of time, lot of space, lot of questions. And then when we just started having a conversation, I came to know that okay, they are also facing few problems that are period related. They are also, that they don't have that confidence कि आप उनके बिलीव्स को आप वो खुद से टैकल नहीं कर पा रहे थे, बट somehow they find कि yeah, there is something wrong with all these taboos, all these beliefs. uh, Being a researcher and a psychologist, I have to take care of the boundaries, of course respect the regional beliefs. So for me, I didn't attack the taboos, but I just gave them a space to accept it. But what I also did is I just left them with some triggering questions so that they can think and have a conversation in the community. And after a long time, like after 2 months, they start coming up to me talking about periods, and we successfully have our safe space to talk about periods. And then gradually I introduced menstrual products, the sustainable menstrual products to them. First I was thinking that what product should I first introduce to them. A menstrual cup was a big no for me because it's too explicit for them. Then I started introducing them with the sustainable cloth pad that we have. टू माई सरप्राइज उन लोगों को जो नेचुरल जो हम लोग अभी यूज कर रहे हैं क्लोथ, द डिस्पोजेबल पैड्स, उनसे काफी ज्यादा उनको जो क्लोथ पैड है वो अच्छा लगा. वाई? बिकॉज इट्स वेरी कंफर्टेबल फॉर देम. गांव का जो पूरा एरिया है वहां पर, इट्स इकोनॉमिकली वेरी वीक, so they cannot afford cloth these pads like Whisper and Stay Free. So all they can afford is जो आंगनवाड़ी में बने हुए पैड्स होते हैं, दैट पैड्स, एंड दे वर लाइक ऑफ वेरी वेरी बैड क्वालिटी. Over them, when I gave them these cloth pads, they were supremely happy. And abhi it's been more than 1.5 months that they are using the pads. And मुझे regular follow-ups भी आते हैं that these pads are comfortable, they are rash free, and one more thing, economical also, because those pads are not economical for them. Major thing was for me, because I know these things and I'm thinking of sustainability, but those, for them sustainability is a very new concept. So उनको वो चीज़ समझाने के लिए I have to take another road. I have to make them understand that if you're using this pad, that कि आप कितना एक major role play कर रहे हो to save the environment, and you are actually contributing to the environment if you're using these pads. And to my surprise, what I came to know, जो मैंने पहले उनके रिजल्ट्स लिए थे ऑन सेल्फ एस्टीम, वो काफ़ी लो थे. बट आफ्टर दीज वर्कशॉप्स एंड आफ्टर मेकिंग देम रियलाइज दैट दे आर एक्चुअली contributing and they are adding value to something. Of course और भी वेरिएबल्स होंगे, बट दिस वाज आल्सो अ मेजर थिंग जो कि मुझे उनसे कॉन्वर्जेशंस करके समझ में आया दैट इट वर्कड a lot for them कि उनका self esteem boost हुआ. Now they are able to talk about periods, now they are able to sit in groups and talk about it, challenge the beliefs. But it's a very slow and a very gradual process. So I am also taking my time and giving them their time. I think that's how we'll cater the major portion of basically in Kumaon and all the mountain regions, the rural part of India. I think patience and conversation is the key for them. That's what I have learned.
Yeah, I think it's very true, especially on what you talked about. Like the transition is much easier if it's a familiar alternative. A cloth pad kind of might have resonated with them more. Yeah, I think that makes total sense. And like we kind of look at mountain regions or rural regions from a very far vantage point. But I think including all or everyone in the country to the sustainable impact is something that's possible and something that people like you are doing, which is very inspiring. Now, for the discussion, I would like to call Dr. Geeta, and I want to ask you something about the scheme that we know, that's the National Health Mission, right? The government has introduced a menstrual scheme through this mission that focuses on creating awareness about menstrual hygiene, about affordable pads among adults and children through education, ASHA workers, and everything, right? In your opinion, what are the gaps in this scheme for implementation? And as a person who's worked in this field for so long, what do you think should be done where implementation is concerned? Ma'am, you are not audible. We can't hear you. Can you unmute now? Can you press the unmute? Yeah.
Actually, the under the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, so has introduced the promotion of menstrual hygiene among adolescent girls and the age group of 10 to 19 years in rural areas. But the issues are awareness and education is not enough to women and adolescent girls, because only that's who are the responsible person to educate the women and adolescent girls. So that is not in that. Maybe the ASHA workers or at the school level teachers. So that is not at the level. So it's not enough to educate them. And also, no proper plan and guidelines are followed at the district and the village levels. So it's operational guidelines are there, but but at the implementation level, so it's not properly followed, and the quality of as Akansha already said, the quality of pads are not good, and the pads are not comfortable for girls and women, and there is no regular supply of pads also. So it's for a month, so one girl or getting only one pack, so it is a pack of 6 to 8 pads, but it's not enough for their period. So maybe they have to purchase more additional pads. So and not enough also. So Gramalaya is educating girls in schools and women in villages on menstrual health, and we are motivating the volunteers to work for creating awareness, and also we are providing the hygienic toilets to the schools and household toilets. It is a provision of period friendly wash facilities. So it is a main facilities, like it has access to privacy, clean water, soap, hand washing facilities, and disposable facilities of used menstrual pads. So that is also we are incorporated in that. So it's affordability menstrual products, accessible menstrual products, and also period friendly wash facilities, so are the major supporting for this for the scheme we
Yes,
have to
ma'am. I think,
implement.
yeah, I think one specific point that you highlighted on, like how implementation to sustain it, we need to provide it with facilities continuously. Like a previous speaker in other panel talked about how we talk a lot about pad banks and introducing these systems and everything in schools, but not make efforts to provide water sanitation facilities. Like in some places, water is not available, and like such wash toilets, like you just talked about, such facilities need to be like worked upon on a continuous level to kind of maintain
Yeah,
these
Gramalaya
kind
has
of.
supported more than 600 school toilet facilities. All are
That's great.
period friendly wash facilities in all southern states.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, ma'am. That's pretty inspiring, and I hope we can bring it to every school in India soon. Yeah. My next question, I would kind of club it for both Geeta and Shruti, because both of you run period based products, right? So something that we talk about sustainability is just that feasibility and sustainability, and also like catering to menstrual health like often doesn't go hand in hand. Mostly when you work on sustainable products, it tends to get less feasible for the people who are purchasing it. So how are your brands working on it? Maybe Shruti can go first on how Narik. I would like to hear from both of you, but Shruti can go first on how Narika is working on the same to make it more accessible to everyone.
No, definitely. So that's a great question. Actually, I think the first thing that comes to my mind anytime anybody asks this question, is that feasibility not going hand in hand with reusability is what we are actually discussing, right? And that is something that is actually something we need to rethink, because traditionally we were always actually using kapra. And if you ask dadis and anybody who's elder, they were always comfortable with it, but but the switch to pads was what was so difficult for them back then, as not being feasible. So agar hum rethink karenge pure model ko, this might be just that era where this is a feasibility related issue, but it actually is not. It's more about, I think, other things which if I were to jot down in points, I think the first one is confidence issue, in terms of taking their own decision. तो अगर आप generally देखोगे, especially young girls में, they're usually told by their mothers up to the age of 12 at least. They are not given the liberty in most cases to take their own decisions. क्या खाओ, we are forced to drink milk. It's just like how it works, वो bones के लिए अच्छा होता है. It's the same when you start menstruating, and if you have heard your mom say that a pad lagana hai, so that's just the way it is. So when somebody else comes and says something else, I think it's less feasibility and more about confidence on this, the aspect of choosing it on their own. What if it goes wrong? I still remember when I menstruated for the first time, I don't think solution as a pad was what I was thinking about. I was already always worried about what is happening to me, or if I'm doing it right, am I wearing it correctly? So it's not about that question. So what we do at Naarica, like you asked, to tackle the first point, which is confidence, is that we take a follow up session with the mothers actually. So when we go to schools where we have the access to the mothers, of course this is usually in semi private and private schools mainly, very sadly, because it's very hard to get in touch with the mothers of zilla parishad schools and stuff like that that we go to. So unfortunately yet to figure out how to do it there. But in the semi private setting, in two tier cities, what we do is that the evening Zoom link to mothers is sent, and we impact the kids enough to go and force their mothers to actually attend. So at Nari for Nari, we try to actually give them follow up tasks ki jaake mummy ko bolna, because you're going to get this, and whatever questions you're asking. And it also helps, of course, like I ask them, the first thing I do is to just say that my brother is also in 8th class, मैं दीदी हूँ तुम्हारी. So it just becomes that sort of narrative where they feel very comfortable. So I literally try to give them a reason and get their mothers there. That's the confidence, ताकि मम्मियाँ भी सुन के बच्चों को बताए. That helps. And the second one is that they I feel like they rely a lot on social proof, I think, as kids, because not just their mothers are the ones that gives them confidence, but it's also a lot of social proof. Agar sports bra, for example, is something is also introduced at that point of time. So if a girl tells one girl that, hey, I've started wearing it, it's also the opposite, where the whole young girls start talking to each other, because they like to lead by examples and then get led by examples also. So I think creating that sort of model has worked for us. We try to give them tasks where they have to interact with each other. We try to give them follow up tasks where they have to fill something and get it back to the school. तो उससे क्या होता है, collaboration की वजह से, when I am talking to another 12-year-old, I can actually discuss, and then when both of us start questioning, something is not right about the current way we are dealing with menstruation, for example, it creates that social chain, I feel. So these are two things that we, I think, is how we tackle it in terms of feasibility.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I kind of got the point of like what actually is the reason, like how you weighed it down to confidence and the issues pertaining at like parents would be discouraging than the actual feasibility. But I like to hear more from Geeta on the same.
Yeah, so when we talk about feasibility of a reusable menstrual product, now as Shruti rightly said, like our grandmothers and mothers. So when I started with my menstruation for the first time, I was handed over a piece of cloth by my mom. And when I said no, it's dirty or it will create infection, she just simply said, that I used all my life, and so have your grandmothers. Nothing has happened to us. You know, so that's when it hits you that yeah, probably she's right. Our traditional practices were good. So government has done a lot of efforts to get the women from using cloth to sanitary pads. and a lot of efforts, energy, money has been gone into it. So now taking a U-turn from there, so it's a big challenge. So when we talk to the younger generation now, so but believe me, especially leave aside millennials, but the Gen Z, they are open, very open to new options that are available, to try out new things by not just being, because the advertisement aa gayi, humne follow kar liya blindly. Not like that. They will actually weigh the pros and cons and things like that. So little bit of efforts have to be put into awareness, open conversation, the right dialogues around menstruation, and the feasibility of the menstrual products that are more in number now. So when I grew up, when I was in school, the only product I knew was disposable sanitary pads and the cloth pad, like the cloth, the rags that were given to my by my mom. But today, the girls do have options. So according to me, the freedom of choice has to be in the hands of the end user. So the moment you tell them these are the products, so whenever we take awareness sessions, it's a basket of product along with our session. So we don't promote Unipads and we never carry our banners or anything anywhere. It's just that we want to talk. So we will talk about everything around menstruation, the facts and figures, the pros and cons, and we introduce these products. So this basket will have a tampon, will have a menstrual cup, will have a disposable pad. They call it those, the compostable pads like banana fiber pads. The difference between them, cloth pad, the pros and cons, and then let them decide what suits them. Let them touch and feel. Let them think about it. Throw these things to them. Give them enough information for them to make a right choice for themselves. So, for an example, somebody just rightly mentioned that we cannot pinpoint. I think Priyanka did that. We cannot pinpoint that yes, only menstrual cup is good for you. Just because I'm using it and it's the best product for myself, I cannot assure that it's best for my niece. She is in terrible pain for first 2 days. Even cloth pad is not a good option for her. So first 2 days she uses disposable. The third day she uses a cup along with a cloth pad. So she is doing her best to, make sure that her health is better, the environment is better. But awareness and right information to the younger generation, actually, they will know what the feasible option is for me. So that's the thing. Even the math, like okay, when you talk about affordability, for me, I have personally noticed that when my major clients and the end users are from rural areas. So when I tell them that it's like, a kit comes for like 300, $400, they'll be like, oh my God, that's too expensive. Because they've never ever, spent on their menstrual products. It's always the rags, 10-year-old bed sheet, or, the free pads that are not of good quality and given to them by government for free. But when they have actually used it, they loved it. And when they do the math, that okay, when they are explained and given the information, right information about the math, saying that, over a period of a year or two, you're spending even less than what you're spending on a disposable pad that you actually spend at times. That's when they realize, oh, okay, this is a good option. And yeah, that is better because it's comfortable. I like it. But the math works like this. Yeah. So yes, right information is the key.
Yeah, I think right information and the idea of choice to let the people choose what product they want to use according to their bodies. Like every
Yeah.
menstruating individual requires that choice. And I think this was a good discussion weighing everything. Because of lack of time, we have to now quickly move towards feedback. So, firstly, I'll take the feedback from Priyanka ma'am. You can also definitely elaborate more through your feedback on the session. Ma'am, please, like about the session that we just.
The session was great for sure. I mean, like I mentioned earlier, also that these kind of conversations are always needed. We never have enough of them, and it's a great panel. The mix of people that we have here. So it was. I'm like taking these kind of sessions since 2015, but every time I learn something new and we meet, sometimes similar faces are there, sometimes new faces are there, but always there's something new to learn. So today was great as well that, I still got to learn more. and it's good to hear what everybody is doing. Like, I've known about Gramalaya since I don't know when, and still today I got to learn more about what they're doing, and same with everyone else. So it was great. Yeah, thanks for organizing.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for joining. This was actually very interesting for us as well, and I hope you got to meet new faces.
I would next call upon Dr. Geeta ma'am to share her feedback for the same.
Really wonderful sharing by all the panelists. So it's regarding not only we are talking about the policies, it's also sharing our experience also, because experience is it's more than our hard work. So we are sharing more hard works because we are facing more struggles in the villages and schools, so to educate the women and adolescent girls. So even then, the men in menstruation is a very difficult challenge in this. So we are educating the women. So even in the teenage girls, so they won't accept for using the reusable cloth pads in the initially, but in the old age people, so eagerly they are buying the reusable cloth pads because of traditionally, so they accepted for the cloth pad, so they bought their grandchildren. So that is also nice, but in the, even we are educating in the boys school, the co-ed schools, so we are separating the girl student and educating the girls, so it's a very challenge. And also boys are murmuring, so what they are going there. So and also we have to educate to boys and men also in the on the menstruation. So that's why they have to support for the menstrual health for the women, and also they have to support for their family members, maybe sisters and mothers. So that is a very good thing. So maybe in the one day conference, so you shared lot of the things, so you have to posted it and disseminating all the information to the young generation. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. So rightfully you said personal is political because men has to be involved in empowering women also and talking about this period poverty issue as well. I would now like to call upon Akanksha Joshi ma'am for sharing her feedback.
It was a really good and a learning experience for me. It was my first conference ever. I was just working in fields. I'm just here for this conference, to attend this conference. And I think it's really good, and it makes me like really hopeful to see a community, people working for menstruation, and they are just giving in all. So I'm really hopeful to see all of you, and it was a great session. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Now I would like to call Shruti ma'am to give her feedback.
Sure. Just like Akansha, honestly, I am meeting, except Geeta ma'am, I am meeting everybody for the first time. So for me, it's a learning experience. We have recently started working and actually going and attending events. So सबको ऐसे virtually मिलके, and then hopefully in the future also, if I get to meet you guys, I'm very, very thrilled that this introduction made it happen. And I think I will be very redundant if I keep saying, but it's very true that it's such a collective effort and such a positive energy that is making all the change that is happening happen. And just as to add, before I conclude, to Geeta ma'am's point, कि men ka education is not just about educating the little boys, but actually educating the men educators, क्योंकि आज अगर मैं भी स्कूल में जाती हूँ, इवन दो आई गो टू सेमी प्राइवेट एंड प्राइवेट स्कूल्स, तब भी दे सेपरेट बॉयज. तो दैट्स लाइक, आई मीन, हाउ आर वी गोइंग टू एक्सपेक्ट दिस विद रूरल स्कूल्स, राइट? सो आई थिंक अगर हम एजुकेटर्स को ट्रेन कर दें कि वो मेन सेक्सुअल अवेयरनेस सेशंस में फीमेल का कुछ डालें, that could be a good way. So maybe when you guys are like making any policies, maybe this can be interesting too. That's just my feedback, maybe already hota hoga. And other than that, I I think क्योंकि ये panel discussion sustainable implementation का था, so I feel like maybe we all can also take a feedback to actually see how, but because it has been working for us, is how we can actually appoint some mechanism to ensure the habit aspect of it. So it can actually be probably an in charge that collects something back or actually gives them exercises, which we already do. But I think the measuring in the like the whole itna scattered environment is what is difficult. So if we can share notes with each other, I guess that could help all of us. Because like I said in my intro as well, I think equally अगर सब लोग एक दूसरे से knowledge share करके आगे बढ़ेंगे, I think we'll take lesser time to get the same impact. So I don't know again how will you facilitate that, but if there is a common platform to share notes, it could be really really helpful for somebody like me. So thank you so much, Sarkari School, also both of you all, for organizing the whole discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. We'll surely ponder upon how we can have like a platform where we can discuss these things. Thank you for that. I would now like to call upon Geeta ma'am to give her feedback.
Yeah, this panel has been really, really nice because, except again, for me also, except Geeta ma'am, I think I'm meeting others for the first time and learning about, all the hard work and efforts that everybody's putting into the similar, work. It's amazing to know and learn new ways that people are adapting towards this issue of period poverty. And this conference specifically is because I love being, even if I wasn't available today the whole day, but still I made it point because this is the first conference I'm attending, which is especially focusing on schools. Because this is the right age for the girls, this is the right time for the interventions. And for the first time, somebody's talking about the implementations of the policies in during the schools, that age gap, sorry, that age group. So, love being on the panel, and thank you so much for having us.
Thank you, ma'am, for your feedback. I would now like to call upon Shreyasi to give her vote of thanks. Shreyasi, over to you.
Thank you, Akanksha. I am delighted to express my gratitude and appreciation towards all the esteemed guests and dignitaries who have graced this conference with their wisdom and ideas. Thank you so much for joining us. It was truly a thought provoking discussion, and it would not have been possible without you, our esteemed panelists. My heartfelt thanks to the organizing team and Sharkari School for their hard work towards making this discussion a successful one. Today, we looked into the critical area of sustainable impact, exploring the ways to move beyond mere implementation and focus on ensuring lasting positive change. The insights shared during this session have been both enlightening and empowering. We have learned that stressful initiative it require more than just a start. Our speakers have not only highlighted the challenges faced by various projects but also brought this innovative solution and best practices to address them. They have shared their expertise, experiences, and imparting valuable lessons that will undoubtedly guide us on our journey towards sustainable impact. Last but not the least, I would like to thank you all, our audience and listeners, for actively being part of the conference and being with us the whole time. Thank you. We really appreciate your participation. Once again, thank you everyone who has been contributed towards making this event successful.
Thank you, Shreyasi. That was wonderful. And I would like to thank all the panelists for the same. Like, I hope our panel on sustainable impact and focusing on implementation, the cause runs forward, and we can make even even if a marginal change comes out of this, it would be really productive. Thank you all the guests for joining in. We'll be having a paper presentation further. If you wish to stay in the meet, you can stay, or else it's okay for you to leave as well. Thank you so much for being here. For the viewers, we'll be continuing with the paper presentation. We had conducted a research writing competition, and the top 15 writers of the competition have been shortlisted, and we'll be having three top writers of the competition here to present their papers. Please continue with us. After this panel, we will also have a valedictory session. So please stay with sarkarischool.com YouTube channel. Presenters,
First, we would have Soumya Pathak. Soumya, can you please start with your presentation? Soumya is here. Okay. Somnath, you can start. Okay, Soumya is here. Yeah, Soumya, you can start. Yes.
So I'll start. Greetings to all. Menstruation is not a problem, but poor menstrual hygiene is. This was the first quote upon which I stumbled when I started researching for my article. And I realized that the data which I came across was really astonishing. And I wondered what would be the reasons behind this issue of poor menstrual hygiene. And I recognized and concluded that the role of taboos and myths surrounding this topic play a huge role and have a grave impact on poor menstrual hygiene. My article consists of a wide range of facts and figures from institutions like World Bank, UNICEF, and etc. But apart from that, it sheds light upon the taboos, prejudices, and stereotypes which still prevail in the society. It also discusses about customary practices such as a menstrual exile in and out of various parts of India, which I have substantiated with the examples of Gadchiroli district in Maharashtra, where the practice of Kurmaghar is still practiced. Apart from that, the Pratha of Chaupadi in Nepal and the Jhabua district in Madhya Pradesh, wherein menstrual cycle is still considered as a disease. All this has adverse effects on the health of women, and it also jeopardizes their safety to a large extent just due to these myths and misconceptions. In this era of modernization, it is imperative that we need to discard these old notions because what we demand today is equality. I have also suggested a few solutions to all the taboos which exist in the society, such as menstrual socialization at home since childhood, which will cultivate a sense of responsibility among the young citizens of country. Apart from that, initiating a conversation and breaking the silence about menstruation rather than being furtive about it altogether. Apart from that, we can also incorporate an inclusive standard menstrual centric syllabi, for example, a period lesson plan. Apart from that, strategic use of mass media platforms such as visual arts, movies, social media, and activism, such as tools of easy awareness and collaboration at governmental and non governmental organizations. At last, I would like to conclude menstruation for women is as natural as breathing. Women have been bestowed with the power of reproduction and procreation only because of this process. It is not dirty or unclean, and there's nothing to be shameful about periods. It's natural. They are similar to the renewal of energy and the cycle of seasons. Gender socialization, along with menstrual sensitization and health programs, conjoined in schools can sow the seeds of better world for women's hygiene, health, and safety. Thank you very much for providing this platform to the esteemed judges and the organization. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Soumya. Your paper was really with a lot of facts. Now, I would like to call upon Somnath to present his paper.
Am I audible, ma'am? Hello? Okay. Hello, everyone. I hope you are all doing well. My name is Somnath Das, and I am from West Bengal, India. First of all, thank you so much for this opportunity. Today, I would like to discuss about my article, which is Sustainable Menstrual Products. The article discusses the sustainable menstruation and explores the eco-friendly alternatives for menstrual health and the challenges faced by the menstruators in accessing safe and clean facilities, and also accurate information about menstruation. The article demonstrates the need for low cost, environmental friendly, and culturally acceptable solution to address the lack of education and accessibility to menstrual products. The article mentions the investigation of economical menstrual pads made of readily available and environmental friendly, such as papaya, aloe vera, and banana, etc. The commercial menstrual products raises concerns about the use of materials which is dangerous for both people and environment. The potential health risks associated, sorry, the potential health risks associated with plastic-based menstrual pads, including cancer, pregnancy difficulties, etc. The article highlights the economic prospects for women in the industry of handmade goods and need to spread awareness in rural areas where women can't afford the menstrual products in India. In the conclusion, it provides the information of sustainable menstrual products and challenges by the use of commercial products. It also emphasized the need for affordable, environmentally responsible, and socially acceptable menstrual hygiene products to improve the menstrual health, economic outcomes, and reduce the environmental footprint. Okay, so this is my presentation about sustainable menstrual products. I hope you are all like it. Thank you so much and have a nice day.
Thank you, Somnath, for that paper. I would now like to call upon Manihas to present his paper. Yes, Manihas.
Hello everyone, this is Manihas Neta from Chaitanya deemed to be University Warangal, Telangana. So, first of all, I thank Sakari School for giving me this wonderful opportunity. And my research topic is MHM, which means menstrual hygiene management in schools. So, coming to my topic, I am gonna sum up my article. First of all, menstruation is a normal and natural thing in women's life. But even though there are many social taboos and social discriminations and inequalities happening because of it, uh, my main article was researched in the school field, so there will be lots of information about only school. So coming to the MHM in schools, it is necessary because nowadays, mainly in rural areas, there are no proper sanitation, proper private toilets, and disposable beans in schools. So it is necessary, and I suggest to have a proper beans, disposable beans, and toilets and runnable taps to prevent to manage the periods of menstruating girls. And I also want to say that menstruation is a common thing, right? So there should be a common awareness, general awareness in every society, and there should be some what we say general discussions, group discussions about the menstrual topic, menstrual periods and menstruating things, so that we will be having an equal society, and we can understand, and we will be more open to this topic, and we may get rid of this social taboo also. And one more thing I want to say is, even though MHM should be implemented in every school or any government institution, because MHM is necessary. And not only that, but in MHM actually, in first of all, I start with the rural areas. In rural areas, there are mostly people who can't afford these menstrual products, so it is necessary for everybody to have them, because due to unaffordability of these menstrual products, menstruating girls are using cloths, even leaves, uh, for which may cause infections actually. So it is necessary to use menstruating products. And for this, I suggest institutions to have, or stakeholders to make some policies and improve. Not only that, but we have to make some partnerships with subsidized organizations to provide these for free of supply, or for some less price. And I want to conclude that MHM is a priority in every institution, and it should be compulsory to have a equal wall for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Manihas, for sharing your thoughts on MHM, menstrual hygiene management, which is a very important point which you pointed upon. I would like to thank you all for presenting this paper and being part of this wonderful panel, which was discussing about ensuring sustainable impact of menstrual policies in school. Thank you, everyone, for attending this session. Take care.
Thank you,